My dad, who was actually the richest man in the entire country, hid his identity and worked at a construction site, hauling bricks like an ordinary laborer. And me? During the day, I rode a broken tricycle, picking up trash from the streets. At night, I worked part-time at a restaurant just to scrape together my tuition. I genuinely believed I was just another poor guy struggling to survive. Until the day I graduated from college. That was when everything shattered. My dad showed up, driving a Rolls Royce, an older model, but still a Rolls Royce. Behind that luxury car stood hundreds of young, elegant women, each holding priceless antiques worth over 100 million, along with property deeds for luxury estates across the country. And all of it was my graduation gift. That was when I realized the truth. My father had deliberately raised me in poverty for over 20 years just to build my character. But at that exact moment, completely unaware of all this, I was clutching the pocket money I had saved by cutting corners on everything. Heading to a 5-star hotel my girlfriend had chosen for dinner. And that was where everything went wrong. She looked at me coldly and said, "Xiao Han, take a good look at yourself. Coming to a place like this is normal for me. But you? This is probably the best outfit you own, isn't it?" I couldn't even argue. She wasn't wrong. My family was as ordinary as it could get. Meanwhile, one of her handbags cost over 100,000. Sitting there, in that luxurious environment, confidence radiated from her eyes, while I felt completely out of place. I didn't even know how to call a waiter properly. The French dishes on the table looked like puzzles I didn't know how to solve. I didn't even know how to eat them. That overwhelming sense of inferiority, it crushed me. "All right, Mingyu, it's getting late. We should go." A handsome young man walked over, speaking gently to her. He wore a perfectly tailored suit, and the Porsche key in his hand felt like it was stabbing straight into my eyes. He helped her up like a gentleman, and from beginning to end, he didn't even glance at me. Compared to his refined appearance, my entire outfit, worth less than 200 yuan, looked like a joke. Qin Mingyu smiled faintly. "Xiao Han, we're over." She wrapped her arm around the man and walked out. Outside, that eye-catching Porsche roared to life. Several gossiping waiters had already been watching everything unfold. After she left, a waitress approached me quietly. "Sir, should I clear these?" Her words echoed in my head, but Qin Mingyu's voice echoed louder. The most painful thing isn't shouting or insults. It's indifference from someone who once felt close. When I didn't respond, the waitress glanced at my cheap clothes and curled her lips. "Sir, I'll take these away." As she reached for the plates, I suddenly lifted my head and stared straight at her. My eyes were bloodshot. My voice came out hoarse. "Did I tell you to take them?" She flinched and instinctively stepped back. I pressed on, my voice sharper. "Did I say you could clear them? Is this how a 5-star hotel treats its guests?" My shout drew attention from everyone nearby. Most of the eyes turned towards the waitress. She immediately felt embarrassed, her expression turning ugly as she snapped back, "Why are you yelling at me? If you got dumped, go vent somewhere else. You didn't say a word earlier. Why act tough now?" No wonder she left you. I actually laughed, but it was pure anger. And in the next second, I flipped the entire table over. The waitress sneered. "Oh, let's see if you can afford to pay for this. Do you even know where you are? Security. Watch him, don't let him run." 2.5 minutes later. The decorations on that table alone were worth nearly 10,000 yuan. The waitress was clearly curious. What would I do next? And then, 2 middle-aged men walked into the hotel. One of them was my father. The other was our neighbor, Uncle Zhao. My dad's brows were tightly furrowed, his steps heavy, like he was suppressing a storm of anger. I immediately walked up and lowered my head. "Dad, I knew 10,000 yuan wasn't a small amount." The fact that he even brought Uncle Zhao, it probably meant our family couldn't afford this. Our situation had always been bad. I braced myself for a harsh scolding. Instead, my father said calmly, "Go ahead. Smash it." I froze. He exhaled a stream of smoke slowly. "You're unhappy today. If you want to smash things, then smash them. I'll handle everything." And right after saying that, he grabbed a chair and hurled it straight into a floor-to-ceiling glass window. Crash. The sound was sharp and explosive. The entire glass wall shattered instantly. The waitress's face changed. "Yo, this kid is already crazy, and now the old one is even worse. Who gave you the right to cause trouble here?" she screamed. I rushed forward, trying to stop him. "Dad, I know I was wrong." But he barked. "Old Zhao, smash it." Uncle Zhao, looking like someone you absolutely don't want to mess with, picked up a chair without hesitation and started wrecking everything in sight. Expensive decorations, ornaments, everything was smashed to pieces. The luxurious hotel lobby turned into complete chaos. I stood there, completely stunned. My mind went blank. Are you all insane? You like smashing things, huh? Causing trouble in Shanghai Hotel? Let's see how you walk out of here today. You'll go bankrupt paying for this, the waitress screamed hysterically. My dad waved his hand dismissively. Little girl, no matter how much we pay, it goes to the hotel. What does it have to do with you? Why are you shouting? Go call your boss. Call our boss? You think you can afford that? She snapped, pointing at him. A bunch of troublemakers. None of you are leaving. Right at that moment, a Mercedes worth nearly $2 million screeched to a stop outside. A middle-aged man rushed in. The boss is here, the waitress exclaimed, her face lighting up. But the hotel owner's expression was dark. He walked straight toward my father, his face looking worse with every step. My dad smiled faintly. Seems like your management isn't very good. I know my son. If he's smashing things, someone must have pushed him too far. And then something unbelievable happened. The hotel owner dropped to his knees. Sorry, boss. That single sentence froze everyone. Me, the waitress, the security guards. Only Uncle Zhao remained expressionless behind my father. Boss? The waitress's face turned deathly pale. My dad looked at her and said calmly, If I smash things in my own hotel, do I need your permission? Tell me, can I smash my own property? She couldn't say a word. Her phone slipped from her hand and hit the ground. My brain, completely short-circuited. Shanghai Hotel, the most luxurious hotel in the entire city. I used to just glance at it with envy whenever I passed by. If Qin Mingyu hadn't brought me here, I would have never stepped inside in my life. And now, I was being told this hotel was ours. My dad wasn't the type to joke. And the hotel owner's reaction. That wasn't acting, so this meant I was actually a rich second-generation heir. The realization made my scalp tingle. All right, kid, my dad said, standing up. You were too immature before, so your mom and I didn't tell you certain things. Come on, it's time you knew the truth. He walked toward the private elevator. Old Zhao, wait here. As soon as my dad left, the hotel owner let out a long breath of relief, then turned to the waitress with a vicious expression. Pack your things and get out. I'll personally review the surveillance footage. If I find any violation of service rules, you'll be paying compensation. The waitress was completely panicked, her face full of regret. Who could have imagined that the loser who just got dumped was actually the son of the hotel's owner? Meanwhile, outside the hotel, a Porsche sped down the road. Ming Yu, after your graduation ceremony, we can... Stop the car ahead. I'm a bit tired, Qin Mingyu said softly, rubbing her forehead. Jiboda had no choice but to comply. She stepped out of the car. The sky was glowing red with the colors of dusk. She turned back toward the hotel, and my image surfaced in her mind. My pale face, my silence. It felt like her heart was being squeezed. If she had a choice, she wouldn't have hurt me. But in her kind of family, many things weren't up to her. They would never allow her to be with someone ordinary. No matter how much she liked me. I'm sorry, she whispered. Her face was pale. Graduation day will probably be the last time we meet. Back at the hotel, in the top floor office, the luxurious surroundings made me feel uneasy sitting there. 2.5 minutes later, an elderly man in his 60s entered. Master, young master. Old Chen, my dad said, I'll leave this kid to you. There are quite a few auctions lately. Take him along. Let him understand the true standing of the Han family in this city. Old Chen bowed slightly. Understood. My dad glanced at me. Our family business is too complicated to explain in a sentence or two. Just follow Old Chen. Learn while you enjoy. Here, take this card. I looked at it and instinctively asked, how much is in it? Why does that matter? With your current ability, you won't be able to spend it all anyway. Just use it. He paused, then added, I also looked into that Qin family girl. They have a small company in Yin City. Nothing significant. But their family is connected to the An family. If you want, I can just buy out their entire business and make that girl your secretary. You can deal with her however you want. That shocked me again. I didn't know much about Qin Mingyu's background. She never talked about it. But I wasn't stupid. From her lifestyle alone, I knew her family was powerful. And yet, my father was saying he could just buy them out. My heart raced. But I quickly said, Dad, let me handle things with her myself. He nodded. All right, then I'll leave the in-city business to you. You've graduated anyway. Your mom and I have been busy for years. It's time we take a break and travel. At that moment, my phone rang. It was one of my dorm brothers. Xiaohan, where are you? Let's hang out before graduation. Tonight, we're going to Elephant Bar. Big place, expensive. Our boss picked it. We're gonna drain his wallet. Hurry up! We're waiting at the entrance! Before I could respond, he hung up. My dad smiled. Go enjoy time with your friends. I'll give you a task. Spend 1 million first. I was speechless. Was he seriously training me to be a spendthrift? Yes, I took a taxi to Elephant Bar, the best nightlife spot in Yin City. As soon as I arrived, I saw my 3 dorm brothers, along with 4 girls, all waiting impatiently. Xiaohan! Finally! The 3rd brother rushed over. The girls barely acknowledged me. Sure, I looked decent, but in this flashy environment. My cheap clothes made me invisible. Inside the club, our dorm leader Kishui proudly announced he brought 1,500 yuan to spend big tonight. But reality hit fast. That amount barely covered the minimum, 12 beers, and we ended up sitting in the darkest, most unnoticed corner. The moment the 4 girls sat down, their expressions changed. 8 people, 12 beers. It was embarrassing, because in a nightclub, the most important thing isn't the drinks, it's face. Oh? Isn't this Kishui? A mocking voice rang out. A poor guy trying to act rich in a nightclub? Just these few beers? And Xiaohan is here too. Got dumped by Tin Mingyu and came to drown your sorrows? I looked over. It was Wang Jie, a rich 2nd-generation student, driving a BMW since junior year, always surrounded by girls. My roommates looked at me. They had just learned about my breakup. Qin Mingyu was basically a goddess at our university. Countless guys chased her, and yet she chose me. That made me a target of jealousy for almost every guy on campus. What does that have to do with you? I said coldly. What I say has nothing to do with you either, he replied dismissively, then ignored me completely and turned to the girls. Ladies, why not come drink at my table? He pointed to a table near the center. 2 bottles of premium liquor worth thousands, glowing under bright lights. The girls' eyes lit up instantly, but they hesitated. We'll just sit for a bit and leave. The mood at our table was already ruined. Soon, the girls said they were going to the restroom and never came back. Half an hour passed. Qishui grew anxious. Where are Lulu and the others? Did something happen? Something happen? The 3rd brother laughed and pointed. Look! We followed his finger. There they were, already at Wang Jie's table, laughing and drinking happily. Qishui slammed the table and marched over. Lulu, what's this supposed to mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? She sneered. You brought me here and only ordered 12 beers. That's embarrassing. Wang Jie burst out laughing. I told you, poor guys shouldn't try to pick up girls here. I nodded slowly. He's right. That's not how this works. Then I stood up and shouted, Waiter! A waiter rushed over. Yes, sir? Open the center table for me. I pointed straight at the most prominent spot in the club. My friends panicked. Xiaohan, are you crazy? The minimum there is 15,000. Wang Jie laughed. Ignore him? He can't afford it. I didn't even respond. I took out the card my dad gave me and slammed it on the table. Bring out your 9,800 per bottle Ace of Spades. The best display. However many bottles you have, bring them all. The waiter froze. That alone would cost a fortune. But when he saw the card, he hesitated, then ran off. Soon, the manager arrived, extremely polite. Sir, we have exactly 88 bottles left. That will total 1 million. I waved my hand. Go ahead. Beep. The POS machine confirmed the payment. 1 million. In that instant, the manager and waiter were overwhelmed with excitement. Their commission alone would be over 100,000. Meanwhile, my 3 roommates, Wang Zhe, and the 4 girls, stood there completely stunned. Was this real? The poor guy just spent 1 million. All around us, customers who spent thousands stared at me with envy. For the first time in my life, I felt those kinds of gazes. Qin Mingyu, you really taught me something. I opened my eyes and looked at the 88 bottles lined up in front of me. Normally, people would store them for later, to show off again another night. But me, I didn't even know that was an option. Open them all. All. All of them? The waiter stuttered. You won't be able to finish? Can't finish? I thought spending 1 million in one night was crazy. But I had no idea that was just the beginning. Because the moment I stepped into that auction, I realized what real power actually looks like. The waiter finally understood what a true tycoon looked like that night. The same Wang Jie, who had been acting all arrogant earlier, now didn't have a trace of that pride left on his face. He walked up to me respectfully, almost bending over. Brother Han, I didn't understand anything before. I offended you. Please forgive me, Brother Han. The way he addressed me had completely changed. And just like that, the entire night drowned itself in luxury and chaos. It was absurd. I leaned back on the sofa, eyes half closed, but my mind kept replaying that dinner scene. Qin Mingyu's eyes filled with disdain. It felt like a knife twisting in my chest. When I woke up, my head felt like it was about to split open. I had drunk way too much out of excitement. I couldn't even remember how the night ended. The only thing I vaguely recalled was old Chen coming to the club entrance and taking me back to our hotel. I rubbed my temples and looked around. I was in an extremely luxurious room. I grabbed my phone, and the class group chat had exploded. Messages were flooding nonstop. Did you hear? Liu Bai already started his own company. He even went to our school during graduation to recruit people. That's insane. Just graduated and already a boss. Well, look at his father. Of course he can do that. Hey, have you heard of Zhou Corporation? Their general manager is Ji Boda. Big company. The counselor will definitely recommend people like Xiaohan. Why would Xiaohan need that? He has Qin Mingyu. She's probably already arranged everything for him. I tossed my phone aside, seeing her name. It still hurt. Angie Boda, that name, I only learned it properly last night from Wang Zhe. Then I remembered, this afternoon, I had to attend an auction. I checked the time. It was almost noon. So I got up and headed towards the restaurant. The moment I walked in, I saw two familiar figures walking toward me. Qin Mingyue and Ji Boda. I could tell, deep down, she didn't want to be close to him. All these years, the only person who had truly entered her heart was me. But family pressure left her no choice. When she saw me, she was clearly surprised. There had been a bit of distance between her and Ji Boda, but instantly, she stepped closer and wrapped her arm around his. That single action made my pupils shrink. Ji Boda smiled faintly. Interesting. If I remember correctly, this hotel isn't cheap. How can just anyone afford to stay here? Who knows? Qin Mingyu glanced at me and let out a soft laugh. That laugh pierced straight through me. Waiter! Ji Boda snapped his fingers elegantly and began ordering dishes with ease. Waiter! I suddenly shouted, my tone the complete opposite of his polished demeanor. Then I pointed at their table. Whatever they ordered, bring me double. I caught the mocking look in Ji Boda's eyes. Soon, the dishes arrived. I picked up my utensils and said casually, you know, before every meal, you used to call me husband first. But I guess things change. Qin Mingyu's face instantly flushed red. That's nonsense. When did I ever... I clearly saw Ji Boda's expression shift. Good. That's exactly what I wanted. I grabbed a lobster and continued. Back then, you'd feed me the first bite yourself. Mouth to mouth. Times really have changed. Every word landed perfectly in their ears. Xiaohan, that's enough. She slammed the table and stood up, glaring at me. I looked at her calmly. Miss, I'm just eating and talking. Does that have anything to do with you? She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself, then picked up her bag. Let's go. She turned and walked out without looking back. Ji Boda quickly chased after her. Mingyu, you don't need to bother with someone like him. But as I watched her leaving figure, the smug smile on my face vanished instantly. The food in front of me suddenly tasted like wax. Forget it. I'm not eating. I stood up irritably. Meanwhile, Qin Mingyu sat in the hotel lobby, trying to calm herself. She wasn't angry because of what I said. She didn't care what Ji Boda thought. What truly upset her was this. Why had I changed so much? The me she knew was gentle, hardworking, steady, but now I looked like some reckless, uneducated thug. She didn't want to see me like this. She turned and saw Ji Boda catching up, but her gaze didn't stay on him for even a second. Instead, she looked past him and saw me standing there alone, looking lost. At that moment, most of her anger faded. After all, she was the one who had hurt me first. Then suddenly, a thought hit her. Why was I still staying here? A possibility crossed her mind. She immediately walked to the front desk and asked about me. After checking, the receptionist said, Miss, Mr. Han has always been charging everything to his account. She let out a long sigh. Were her words yesterday too harsh? Had they pushed me over the edge? After thinking for a moment, she took out her phone. Put 30,000 on his account. No, make it 50,000. After scanning the payment, she left quietly. The receptionist looked confused. The young master was spending at his own hotel. So why was someone else paying his bills? Half an hour later, I walked up to the front desk. Clear my room charges. Sir, a kind lady has already credited 50,000 to your account. Kind lady? My expression changed instantly. I slammed my fist onto the counter, scaring the receptionist. Inside, I muttered, Qin Mingyu. Do you think this is compensation? Do you think I need your charity? I don't. I don't need it. Then I shouted out loud, return that money to her. Old Chen stood beside me the whole time, calm as ever. Young master, this afternoon's schedule is the auction. Outside the hotel, Qin Mingyu drove off in a Mercedes C-Class. For someone of her status, it was actually very low-key. Mom, I know. I'll attend the auction this afternoon, she said over the phone. At the hotel entrance, old Chen drove while I sat in the back. flipping through documents he gave me, details about our family's assets, as well as a list of attendees and items for today's auction. "Young master," old Chen said calmly. "Master instructed. Anything you like today, you can bid for it. No one here is our opponent." His confidence was absolute. At 4 p.m., the auction was held at the most exclusive private club in the city. Luxury cars filled the entrance. The moment I stepped out, I saw well-dressed men and women chatting casually. The moment they saw me, a completely unfamiliar face, they all looked over with curiosity. This circle was small. New faces didn't just appear unnoticed. My presence was abrupt. "Kid, where are you from?" A man around 25 walked up to me. "Never seen you before. Did you pay your respects?" "Pay my respects?" I frowned slightly. On the way here, old Chen had explained many rules of this circle, but not this. The man shook his head like he was teaching me a lesson. "In this city, business is limited. If you want a share, you need to follow the rules. Didn't your family teach you that?" Others gathered around. "These nouveau riche types," getting more annoying every generation. Every gaze on me carried arrogance. At that moment, old Chen walked over. It's my oversight for not explaining clearly. But for my young master, others pay respect to us. We don't pay respect to anyone. Anyone who wants to do business in this city needs the Han family's approval. The moment those arrogant men saw old Chen, their expressions changed instantly. "Mr. Chen." They all bowed respectfully. Old Chen turned slightly toward me. "Young master." And just like that, everyone who mocked me earlier froze. Their faces turned ugly. They thought I was just some newcomer they could intimidate. But I was the heir of the Han family. "Brother Han, I was wrong earlier. Please don't take it to heart." No matter their age, they all came up to me, calling me Brother Han, because this identity was not something they could afford to offend. Inside the club, the hall was beautifully arranged. A grand stage stood at the center, surrounded by individual high-end seats, each labeled with names. I scanned the room. My name wasn't there, but 2 names caught my attention. Qin Mingyu, Ji Boda. "Young master." "We're upstairs," old Chen said, pointing to the second floor. There, a semi-transparent private room overlooked the entire hall. From inside, we could see everything, but no one outside could see us. Soon, the auction began. The host energized the crowd, while a beautiful assistant presented item after item. I sat there the whole time, just watching. I didn't bid once. Old Chen couldn't help but remind me. "Young master, even if no one here can compete with us, you should at least bid on a few items, for appearance's sake." Right then, the next item appeared, 2 rare, discontinued stamps. For collectors, they were priceless. For the first time, Qin Mingyu raised her paddle. 100,000. "Mingyu, you're interested in stamps?" Ji Boda asked. She shook her head. "An elder likes them. My mom asked me to buy these as a gift." Stamp collecting wasn't as popular as art or antiques, but coincidentally, 2 others in the room were also interested. The price quickly rose to 500,000. "Ha ha ha, if Miss Qin really wants them, I'll step back." One middle-aged man laughed. She nodded slightly. "Thank you." 100,000 going once, going twice. 1 million. Old Chen's voice echoed from the VIP room. If it were for herself, she would have given up. But this was for an elder. She took a deep breath. 2 million. Her voice was firm, but I could tell. This was already far beyond the item's value. Ji Boda immediately stood up. "Mingyu, don't worry. I'll get it for you. No one can stop me." He looked upstairs. "Brother, I'm Ji Boda from the Zhou family of An province. This item is for an elder. I hope you can give me some face." Then he raised his paddle. 3 million. 3 million going once, going twice. Before the hammer could fall, old Chen spoke again, his voice calm, but absolute. "No matter what price he bids, we add 1 million. The entire venue erupted. That sentence alone showed what true wealth looked like. Inside the private room, old Chen stood beside me. "Young master, even though we're the richest here, it's better not to push too hard." I looked out the window and asked calmly, "Old Chen, how is the Ji family's business?" Old Chen didn't hesitate for even a second before answering. I thought I was finally in control, but the moment I decided to strike back, I realized this world runs on power far beyond imagination. And this time, I wasn't just going to win. I was going to crush everything in my way. Old Chen answered without hesitation. "In An province. The Ji family is considered quite influential." I slowly raised my hand, tapping 4 fingers rhythmically against the table. My gaze was cold. I want everything on the Ji family. Their assets, partners, every single detail. Old Chen's expression shifted slightly. He understood instantly. This wasn't just curiosity. I was preparing to make a move. Even though my father had raised me in poverty, he had never neglected my education. Every mentor I had in university was personally selected by him. Top-tier elites who trained me with precision. I'd always taken learning seriously, and because of that, Old Chen trusted my ability completely. And that was exactly why my father felt confident handing over all the businesses in the city to me right after graduation. But right now, what Old Chen saw in my eyes was something else entirely. A sharp, overwhelming aggression. Below, Jiboda took a deep breath, forcing a smile. Friend in business, it's always better to have more allies. This item is for an elder. I must have it. That statement made his determination clear. Then he raised his paddle. 5 million. After bidding, he sat down calmly, completely silent, looking confident that victory was already his. The VIP room above fell silent again. It seems the Ji family is stronger after all. After both sides showed their determination, the Han family backed down. The host lifted the hammer. 5 million going once. Going twice? Didn't you hear what I said earlier? Old Chen's voice cut through the air again, this time carrying clear anger. No matter what he bids. We go 1 million higher. The entire hall erupted. The Han family once again showed absolute dominance. Jiboda's confident expression shattered instantly. His face turned ugly. Was the Han family insane? All this for a pair of stamps? Did they not even know who he was? The host didn't hesitate. He slammed the hammer down. Sold. The item goes to the Han family. From beginning to end, I hadn't even looked at the stamps once. My eyes were fixed on one person. Qin Ming Yue. When will you finally let go of that pride of yours? I muttered under my breath. Her calm attitude during yesterday's breakup kept replaying in my mind like a loop I couldn't escape. The 2 stamps, sold at a ridiculous price, were delivered to Old Chen. I left the venue through the VIP passage. Brother Han. That was quite a bold move. 6 million for 2 stamps? Seems you're not as approachable as you look. A beautiful woman walked toward me, smiling softly as she extended her hand. Brother Han, my name is Li Nuo. I'm Li Chaoyang's woman. The name rang a bell. A real estate figure with some influence in the city. I reached out, and just as our hands met, I saw Xin Mingyu and Jiboda walking toward us. Without hesitation, I grabbed Li Nuo's wrist and pulled her into my arms. I'm free tonight. Our bodies were close, intentionally intimate, and that exact moment was witnessed perfectly by Qin Mingyu and Jiboda. The instant she saw another woman leaning against me, Qin Mingyu's expression stiffened unnaturally. For a split second, she even had the urge to walk over and pull us apart. Jiboda let out a cold laugh. This Xiaohan? He's quite skilled with women, but a man should rely on himself. Living off others? That's no different from trash. After they got into the car, Li Nuo gently stepped away from me and smiled charmingly. All right, big brother. They're gone. You don't need to keep acting. She slipped a piece of paper into my hand. You owe me dinner for this. With that, she turned and left, leaving behind a faint fragrance. Inside the Porsche, Qin Mingyu watched Li Nuo's elegant figure through the rearview mirror. Her face turned pale. Mingyue, what's wrong? Jiboda reached for her hand, but she pulled away. She brushed aside the loose strands of hair on her forehead and shook her head. Nothing, just not feeling well. Stop the car ahead. I'll go back. Without realizing it, her fists clenched tightly. Her mind kept replaying the image of Li Nuo in my arms. Qin Mingyue, you were the one who let go first. From now on, he has nothing to do with you. She kept telling herself that. Tomorrow will probably be the last time we see each other, she murmured, her eyes shimmering faintly. Old Chen's car pulled up in front of me. I took a deep breath. Tomorrow is the graduation ceremony. Young master, Old Chen said, there's a report. Some newly rising companies want to enter the circle. They need your approval. One of them is your classmate, Lu Bai. I nodded without speaking. I knew Lu Bai. Arrogant, but we barely interacted. Back at the hotel, Old Chen handed me detailed information about the Ji family, their investments, trade channels, and asset structure. That night, I sat in front of my computer, organizing everything. A complete plan to deal with the Ji family took shape right in front of me. Let's see if your strength matches your arrogance, Jiboda. You want to enter the city's business circle? Interesting. The next morning, I went to school. Xiao Han is here. Our top student. 4 years of scholarships. Companies must be fighting over you, right? Come on. Qin Mingyu probably already arranged everything for him. Everyone knew a bit about her background. As soon as that was mentioned, all eyes turned toward her. She smiled faintly. Xiaohan and I have already broken up. Ha ha ha. Good riddance. A loud laugh rang out. I've been saying, how could a loser like Xiaohan be with Ming Yu? Everyone looked over. It was Lu Bai, tall, handsome, full of arrogance. Xiaohan, you should look in the mirror. What part of you deserves her? He walked up to me with a mocking expression. I glanced at him calmly. And you think you do? Even dogs don't bark this early. What the hell did you say? One of his lackeys immediately rushed over and shoved me, ready to start a fight. Classmates quickly stepped in to stop it, but he had no intention of backing down. Forget it. Lu Bai waved casually. Why bother with trash like him? Let's go. The recruitment fair is starting. The graduation recruitment fair was packed. Famous companies had arrived, and students were desperately submitting resumes. But Lu Bai, he wasn't among them. Instead, he sat comfortably at a recruiting booth, under a sunshade, sipping a cold drink while chatting with company representatives, completely relaxed. Our eyes met. He smiled. Xiaohan, want to interview at my company? I still need a janitor. You'd be perfect. Laughter erupted instantly. Brother Lu, you're too harsh. He still got scholarships for 4 years. Now he's cleaning toilets. A pretty girl beside him kept throwing flirtatious glances. All around me. People shook their heads in pity. Lu Bai clearly came from a powerful family. Offending him in a city like this? Well, that would make survival difficult. Meanwhile, companies were actively approaching Qin Mingyu. Miss Qin, your resume is excellent. Perfect for our company. Her talent and appearance made her highly sought after. Sorry, no need. Jiboda suddenly appeared beside her. She's already the vice president of our Jishi group. I believe that position is better than anything here. That statement shocked everyone. Jishi Group entering this city was already well known. Once they fully stepped in, the entire business world here would be shaken. Outside the school gate, Old Chen stood with his phone. Master understood. Everything is ready. Appointment letters for 18 companies are prepared. The young master will sign them shortly. Behind him, 10 Rolls Royces lined up in perfect formation, license plates in sequence. It was a shocking sight. Behind them, rows of brand new supercars, not even registered yet. All of them were my graduation gifts. And behind those cars stood over 100 young women, each holding trays covered in golden silk. Beneath those covers were priceless antiques and property deeds, each one worth a lifetime of effort for ordinary people. Master, everything is ready. The school has been notified. The convoy will enter shortly. Nothing has leaked. The young master still knows nothing, Old Chen reported. Good. My father's voice came through the phone. That Qin family girl doesn't even value my son? Ridiculous. What about his dorm friends? Yes, they're clean backgrounds. Good. They've helped him a lot. Don't forget that. Arrange positions for them too. Yes, master. I won't be returning anytime soon. Xiao Han is still young. Take care of him. Understood. Old Chen picked up a walkie-talkie. Prepare to enter. Outside the campus, the massive convoy drew countless onlookers. Meanwhile, at the recruitment fair, I was completely isolated. But I didn't care. I only came for my friends. Xiao Han! A familiar voice shouted. Everyone turned, confused. Who would still talk to me now? My 3 dorm brothers ran toward me. Boss, you almost missed everything! I smiled. These were real brothers, through thick and thin. Kashui laughed awkwardly. After that night, I'm still hungover. It was obvious. Things with Lu were going well. Stop joking. Go submit your resumes, I urged. They snapped back to reality and rushed off. Brother Lu, you saw my resume before. The third brother walked up to Lu Bai, handing it over. Lu Bai glanced at it, then sneered and threw it straight into the trash. Trash. The third brother froze. What do you mean? What are you? Lu Bai snapped coldly. I'll make it clear. Anyone associated with a Xiao Han, forget about joining my company. The third brother instantly understood. Lu Bai, who the hell do you think you are? I don't even want your job. Meanwhile, Chishui and another brother were about to sign contracts with Jishi Group, until Jiboda appeared. He waved his hand. Get rid of them. We don't hire anyone connected to Xiao Han. Their faces turned pale instantly. They never imagined. I had conflicts with Jishi too, and just like that, other companies followed suit, throwing their resumes into the trash. No one wanted to offend Jishi Group. My friends clenched their fists in anger. Outside, the engines of 10 Rolls Royces started in unison. And at that exact moment, Wang Zhe stepped forward, his voice impatient. Is this really necessary? Lu Bai sneered. Since when do you get to speak? The rivalry between rich second generations was always there. Wang Zhe turned to Jiboda, his eyes sharp. President Ji, you really think your family is that powerful in this city? He paused. And have you ever thought about... I thought revealing my identity would be enough to change everything, but I didn't realize it would shake everyone around me. And the moment those Rolls Royces appeared, my life officially stepped into a completely different world. Wang Zhe's words hung in the air, and people around started whispering. Is young Master Wang out of his mind? Does he really think there's someone here they can't afford to offend? Do you think someone might suddenly show up and say something like, Patriarch, the 3-year agreement has ended? Even Ji Boda glanced sideways at Qin Mingyu, a faint smirk forming. Mingyu, looks like your taste wasn't that great after all. Things here are about done. Let's go. He pointed toward the parking lot. A brand new Ferrari stood there. Flashy, eye-catching. It was Ji Boda's latest purchase. Damn. That's so cool. The praise made him feel proud. But as his gaze casually swept across the parking area, he froze. Because right beside that Ferrari, 10 brand new Rolls-Royce Phantoms, lined up in perfect sequence, entered his sight. His heart skipped a beat. Each Phantom cost at least 7 million. And with custom configurations, each one easily exceeded 10 million. 10 of them! That was over 100 million. In a city like this, who could possibly afford that? The 10 Rolls-Royces moved forward in perfect synchronization, slowly advancing toward the recruitment venue. The visual impact was overwhelming. No one cared about mocking me anymore. Everyone pulled out their phones, filming like crazy. Oh my god, look! There are helicopters! How much does that even cost? Each helicopter had a banner hanging beneath it. Congratulations to young master on completing his studies and graduating successfully. Ji Boda took a deep breath. Even his family could arrange a display like this, but never for a single junior's graduation. Not even for their chosen heir. The next moment, all 10 Rolls-Royce doors opened simultaneously. From each car stepped out a driver, dressed in black suits, wearing white gloves and sunglasses, standing perfectly straight beside their vehicles. That scene alone stunned everyone. Then, an elderly man stepped forward from the formation, Old Chen. Under countless shocked gazes, he walked straight toward me and bowed deeply. Congratulations, young master, on your graduation. His voice wasn't loud, yet it echoed clearly across the entire venue. And the moment he finished, every single driver, every single kipao-clad woman holding trays, all bowed in perfect unison. Even the angle of their bows was identical. Congratulations, young master, on your graduation. Their voices rang out together, carrying an overwhelming sense of presence. The entire recruitment fair fell silent. Lu Bai, who had just mocked me for ending up as a janitor, felt his insides twist with regret. Ji Boda clenched his fists, his face filled with fury. How could this guy possibly have such status? Why him? And Qin Mingyu. Her once bright eyes were now filled with something complicated beyond words. I looked at Old Chen, then up at the helicopters, and let out a helpless smile. Old Chen, was all this really necessary? He shook his head slightly. Young master only gave the order 2 days ago. Time was limited, so the preparations are actually quite modest. Modest? I quickly cut him off. Honestly, I was still struggling to process this sudden shift in identity. And now this. It was a bit too much. My aura hasn't caught up to this level yet, I thought to myself. Young master, Old Chen continued, as per master's instructions. These are all your graduation gifts, he snapped his fingers. From the formation, 10 kipao-clad women stepped forward, each holding a tray. They simultaneously lifted the golden silk covers. One by one, their clear voices rang out. A residence in Bishui Spring City. 2,500 square meters. 73% shares of Yibo Media. 92% shares of Chiang Group. And on and on. By the time all 10 finished speaking, the crowd was completely stunned. Old Chen bowed again. Young master, this is the first batch of gifts. Any of these companies, you may choose how to operate them. The entire CBD building belongs to you. If you are not satisfied with that residence, there are 9 other options with different styles. A collective gasp swept through the crowd. So many companies. Choose whichever you want. An entire CBD building. Just his. Just moments ago, Lu Bai had been bragging about his company. 5 million investment, 300 square meters of office space. Compared to this, it was nothing. Absolutely nothing. Lu Bai stood there, eyes wide, filled with jealousy and rage. He couldn't understand. How did someone who lived like a poor guy for 20 years suddenly become this? If he knew I was the heir of the Han Group, he'd probably be on his knees already. As the second row of women stepped forward, I couldn't take it anymore. There were too many people watching. I waved my hand. Old Chen, that's enough. No need to read everything. Yes, young master. He bowed. I'll prepare a detailed list for you. You currently own 17 companies. You may assign people to help manage them. As he said that, he glanced at Shishui and the others beside me. I instantly understood. I patted their shoulders and laughed. You heard that, right? Pick any company you want. If you think you're capable, even being general manager is fine. The moment I said that, at least 100 pairs of envious eyes locked onto them. Just minutes ago, these same people were mocking them. Their resumes were thrown into the trash. They couldn't even get an internship. And now, that they could choose from over a dozen companies, even take top positions. Compared to that, Liu Bei's so-called startup boss title looked like a joke. People who had been standing near Liu Bei and Jiboda slowly began shifting away, toward my side. I suddenly started running towards the school gate. As I ran, I turned back and looked straight at Qin Mingyu. Her gaze had never left me. The moment our eyes met, a faint smile formed on my lips. Qin Mingyu, you left me because I was poor, but now, do I still look poor to you? Xiaohan, I knew you had money, but this is insane, my roommate said, giving me a thumbs up. Our school will be talking about you for at least 10 years. Qin Mingyu stood there, watching until I disappeared from sight. Her eyes were empty, her heart conflicted, happy for me, but also full of regret. Regret that she didn't hold on to what we had. She ignored Jiboda completely and walked out of the campus alone, dialing her phone. Xiaolin, I graduated? Come drink with me. Elephant Bar. Jiboda's face turned dark, but when he heard her mention drinking, his eyes flickered. He took out his phone. Keep an eye on Qin Mingyu. Find out where she goes tonight, and check the license plates. That night, around 10 p.m., after finishing everything related to graduation, I was about to head home when I received a call from an unknown number. I picked up. A soft, teasing voice came through. Brother Han, you're so heartless. I pretended to be your girlfriend yesterday and got myself into trouble, and you didn't even call me. That really hurts. That nickname instantly brought someone to mind. Li Nuo. Her bold, enchanting image appeared in my head. Honestly, I wasn't used to dealing with someone like her. Sorry, I was busy with graduation today. How about dinner tomorrow? No, tomorrow is too late. I played your girlfriend yesterday. Now you have to play my boyfriend today. I'm at Elephant Bar. She added casually, by the way, since you spent $1 million last time, I told the manager to upgrade your membership card. Wait, Elephant Bar is yours? I froze. Of course, I manage it myself. Thanks for the $1 million, by the way. She laughed and hung up. I could only smile helplessly and head there. At the same time, outside Elephant Bar, Qin Mingyu parked her car. A stylish blonde woman waved excitedly. Mingyu, over here! For the first time, Qin Mingyu showed a genuine smile. Xiaolin, you're so impatient. Of course I am. I've asked you out so many times. Come on, there are definitely handsome guys inside tonight. Xiaolin hooked her arm and dragged her inside, chatting non-stop. Half an hour later, I arrived too. After giving my table info, I was led inside. Li Nuo's table was slightly off-center, but still a prime spot. Several men and women were already seated. You're here! The moment she saw me, her face lit up. She rushed over and hugged my arm. I immediately noticed 2 of the guys were already staring at me with hostility. Well, Li Nuo. Not bad. He's pretty handsome. When did you secretly find him? 2 well-dressed girls looked me up and down. Their words sounded positive, but their eyes carried clear disdain. My clothes were still too cheap. This is my friend Xiaohan, Li Nuo said playfully, introducing everyone. I quickly assessed the situation. 3 men, 3 women, paired off, except for Li Nuo, and the guy clearly unhappy with me. So that was it. She brought me here as her shield. And judging from the staff's attitude earlier, she hadn't revealed this place was hers. Fine, I'd play along. You're late. How about a few penalty drinks? The guy in the center said coldly. He was clearly the one hosting. I didn't hesitate. I picked up 3 glasses and downed them instantly. Nice, let's drink. The other 2 guys stood up immediately, clearly trying to get me drunk, so the host could have his chance. And just like that, the real game of tonight began. I thought tonight would end quietly, but I didn't expect it to turn into a complete public humiliation. And this time, someone was going to lose everything. So this Xiaohan is pretty good at pretending, huh? Trying to save face in front of Mingyu. Don't worry. I'll make sure she knows everything you've done. Jiboda walked straight into Elephant Bar. The people he had sent to keep watch had already informed him. Chin Ming-yu was inside. Meanwhile, I had already drunk quite a bit. Lino was pulled by two women and made to sit beside the man in the center. I could see it clearly. His disgusting hand was slowly reaching toward her. Linwo reacted instantly. She stood up, brushed her hair aside, and used the excuse of going to the restroom to get away. The man in the center stared at her back, licking his lips. This Linwo. She's pretty arrogant. Arrogant? What's she so proud of? One of the women scoffed. Always carrying branded bags? Who knows if they're even real? Ask her about her family. She never says anything. Probably just acting expensive to raise her value. Raising her value is fine, the man smirked. What I'm worried about is if she's priceless. As he spoke, he casually revealed his wrist, a luxury watch worth over 110,000. The two women's eyes lit up instantly. They knew he had money, but not this much. They couldn't help but feel jealous. They had known Lee Nuo for years, but never knew her background. When their boyfriend mentioned a rich friend looking for a girl, they brought Lee Nuo along, thinking it would benefit them. Now they regretted it. If they had known he was this rich, they would have taken the chance themselves. The man called the waiter. 3 bottles of Ace of Spades. Under the admiring gazes of the women, he casually spent 30,000. To them, that was incredibly attractive. But as he put his phone away, a hint of pain flashed in his eyes. His credit card was maxed out again. Look at that guy. So tacky! The women suddenly pointed at me without hesitation. My plain clothes made me look completely out of place. Sitting near them even felt embarrassing to them. Trust me, they said, flattering the man. Once Lee Nuo sees these 3 bottles, she'll come crawling into your arms. They were busy posting on social media, and I had already been completely ignored. At another table under flashing lights, Jiboda instantly spotted Chin Ming-yu, even among countless beauties. She still stood out. Ming-yu! He walked over quickly. She frowned slightly. She hadn't invited him. You followed me. Ming-yu, listen. I was just worried about you, he said quickly. That Xiaohan hasn't changed. He's capable of anything. I investigated. Everything he showed today was fake. He hired people to act. He even mortgaged his house to pull it off. I could feel something shift, even from afar. Chin Ming-yu looked at him, then shook her head calmly. We've already broken up. Whether it's real or not, does it even matter? But despite her words, my image appeared in her mind again. Had her words pushed me this far? If I really mortgaged my house just to fake everything, what would happen to me next? Seeing her expression soften slightly, Jiboda quickly said, My fault, my fault. Tonight's drinks are on me. He waved to the waiter. Open 10 Ace of Spades. Right then, the DJ's voice echoed across the club. From table B8, Mr. Jiboda has ordered 10 Ace of Spades. Wishing Mr. G great wealth every year, and a long, happy union with Miss Kin Ming-yu. The announcement was clearly arranged by him. Under dazzling lights, the bottles were paraded across the club, drawing envious stares from everyone. Before arriving at his table, Jiboda sat there, full of pride, but Chin Ming-yu and Chao Lin. Their expressions didn't look good at all. They weren't here for money or show, they just wanted a quiet drink. Meanwhile, at Lino's table, the two women's attention shifted instantly, from their rich friend to Jiboda, because 3 bottles and 10 bottles were completely different levels. Even I couldn't ignore the DJ's voice. And the moment I saw Shin Ming-yu sitting beside him, my expression darkened. I refused the drinks being pushed toward me, took a deep breath, grabbed my coat, and prepared to leave. Hey, what's your problem? You don't want the drinks? Think 2,000 per bottle is too cheap? The 2 men grew angry. We're letting you drink. Don't act ungrateful. Because the music had paused, their shouting drew attention from everyone, including Jiboda's table. Oh, isn't that Xiaohan? Jiboda laughed loudly. What's wrong? Mortgaged your house to act rich during the day, and now you're here pretending again? That line instantly sparked curiosity. Mortgaged his house? How stupid do you have to be to do that? The 2 women beside Li Nuo burst into laughter. Li Nuo, your boyfriend is really something. But Li Nuo looked at Jiboda like he was an idiot. She knew exactly who I was. Publicly provoking the Han family's heir. That was suicidal. I glanced at Jiboda, said nothing, and continued walking toward the exit. But before I could leave, someone blocked my path. Mr. Han, finally, I get to meet you. It was a middle-aged man, the general manager of the bar. He bowed respectfully. Mr. Han, regarding your previous 1 million purchase, There was a misunderstanding. The manager charged it as a membership top-up and added another 1 million as a bonus. We've been trying to find you to return your card. His voice wasn't loud, but everyone nearby heard it clearly. 1 million. The two women froze instantly. They were already shocked by 30,000 town, amazed by 100,000, but now 1 million. And not just that, a single transaction. The two men who had mocked me earlier stood there speechless, wishing they could disappear. Jiboda stood up, frowning. Are you mistaken? He spent 1 million. Everyone at Lino's table held their breath, hoping the answer would be yes. But the manager shook his head calmly. We never make mistakes with VIP guests. He handed me the card. I didn't take it. There's still 1 million inside, right? Yes. I looked towards the DJ booth. Earlier, when someone ordered drinks, the DJ made an announcement, right? Yes. Then use this 1 million. Bring me 100 bottles of Ace of Spades, and have the DJ say something for me. Of course. The manager immediately signaled staff. Serve 100 bottles for Mr. Han. I smiled slightly. Send 2 bottles to every table. Then I added casually, and have the DJ say this. Didn't he just say, wishing Mr. G and Miss Chin a long, happy union? Then now, let him say, happy breakup instead. The moment I said that, Jiboda and the manager's expressions both changed. But the crowd exploded. Free drinks for everyone. This was insane. The manager hesitated. Offending either side wasn't easy. Xiao Han, Jiboda stood up coldly. I know where your money comes from. Mortgaging your house doesn't give you the right to act arrogant in front of me. This is a lawful society. But believe me, once you step outside this bar, you won't see tomorrow's sun. Oh, really? A voice suddenly cut in. Lin Wo stood up. If I didn't grow up here, I might actually believe this city belongs to you. Jiboda's expression shifted slightly. He recognized her from the auction. The manager immediately approached her nervously. Miss, why didn't you tell me you were coming? Her presence alone changed everything. People at her table were stunned. Wait, wasn't this her bar? Didn't you hear what my brother Han said? She waved impatiently. Do exactly that. That one sentence confirmed everything. This bar was hers. The manager no longer hesitated. Soon, 100 glowing bottles were carried across the club, placed on every table. And the DJ's voice rang out again, wishing Mr. G and Miss Chin a happy breakup. The entire place erupted. Just moments ago, it was a blessing. Now, it was humiliation. I walked over to Jiboda's table, glanced at him, then looked at Chin Mingyu and smiled slightly. Enjoy your night! Then I turned and left. Behind me, Linwo added, repeat that line all night, and quickly followed me out. Inside the club, Jiboda, who had been the center of admiration, was now the center of ridicule. His fists clenched tightly. Every DJ announcement felt like a slap across his face. Staring at my back, he growled, You think just because you're backed by some rich second generation, you can fight me? Just wait. I'll make you kneel and beg me. Outside, I waved my hand. A Rolls-Royce pulled up. Old Chen stepped out and opened the door for me. Before getting in, I looked at Lin Wo. You helped me again today. I'll treat you next time. She shook her head. Your next time never comes. There's a birthday banquet for an elder in a few days. You'll probably attend. We'll meet there. All right. I got into the car. As it slowly drove off, I took a deep breath. But Chin Mingyu's words from that night still echoed in my mind. Back at Shanghai Hotel, I sat in the top floor office. On the table, hangover tea prepared by old Chen, and stacks of documents. Since returning, I had been going through them non-stop. These were all the businesses I was about to inherit. Looking at those numbers, it was hard to believe that so many well-known companies were actually mine. Young master, it's late. You should rest, old Chen said, refilling my tea. In 3 days, it will be the Luhe royal family's birthday banquet. Your father once helped them. You should attend. The stamps you bought, they're exactly what the old master likes. Perfect as a gift. Of course, even if you bring nothing. Your presence alone is enough, I smiled. Then I'll give the stamps. As for showing face, that's something my father does. I'm not there yet. Old Chen nodded. Understood. I'll prepare it. Also, several new companies want to enter the circle. They need your approval. I glanced at the clock. Tomorrow. Meanwhile, at 11 p.m., Lu Bai lay in bed, unable to sleep. Today had been a roller coaster for him. From mocking me to witnessing everything collapse. But just earlier, he received a call from G. Boda's secretary. They told him everything I showed today was fake. The people were hired. The properties were fabricated. Even the real estate offices had been contacted. Though in reality, those properties weren't for sale because they were reserved for the owner. Hearing this, the darkness in his heart disappeared. He cursed himself for being fooled by a poor guy. If I get another chance, I'll expose him completely. But more importantly, he was waiting for one thing. In this city, all companies had to enter a certain business circle, and without the approval of the leader of that circle, no one could get in, lying on his bed. That Liu Bai stared at the ceiling, waiting, because he believed that his moment was coming. I thought I was finally stepping into the real battlefield, but I didn't expect the first enemy to be someone who still thought I was a nobody. And this time, I wasn't going to hold back. The message Liu Bai received was from a senior he had connections with, and the content made him ecstatic. That big shot had agreed to meet him tomorrow. Of course, Liu Bai knew he wasn't the only one. Many people were trying to enter that circle. The meeting would be a group session. But still, just being able to meet that person was already an incredible honor. Something worth bragging about for years. He was so excited. He couldn't sleep at all. He sat up straight and started rehearsing how he would behave tomorrow. What to say, how to act. Meanwhile, the next morning at 8 a.m., I rubbed my sleepy eyes and headed to the hotel's buffet to grab breakfast. At the same time, Liu Bai arrived at Shinkai Hotel's buffet as well, running on zero sleep but full of excitement. He grabbed some food, sat down, and saw me. The moment he spotted me, his mood dropped instantly. "Oh, Xiao Han," he sneered. "Since when do you come to 5-star hotels for breakfast?" "Oh, right. I almost forgot. Young Master Han is a super rich guy now, right? With your wealth, why not just buy the entire hotel?" I calmly put a piece of beef in my mouth and chewed. "This hotel already belongs to my family." He rolled his eyes internally, still acting. "Oh wow, Xiao Han, you're so low-key. Since it's your hotel, how about waiving my breakfast fee? We're classmates after all." The breakfast cost $138 per person. Not much for him. But he knew. For someone pretending, it would sting. I thought for a moment and shook my head. "And waiving isn't convenient. It complicates the accounting. But since we're classmates, I can pay for you. I'll transfer the money. You just pay normally." He smiled immediately. "Thanks a lot. Sorry about before." He pulled out his phone, waiting. I nodded, then suddenly froze. My pocket was empty. "Sorry, I forgot my phone." "How about this? You pay first, I'll transfer it later." His expression instantly changed. "You done?" he snapped, slamming his fork down. "You enjoy pretending this much?" He stood up angrily. "Jiboda already told me. You mortgaged your house to fake everything yesterday. Impressive. Really went all in." With that, he turned and left. I glanced at his back and simply shook my head. Honestly, I didn't even feel like arguing with someone like him anymore. I had more important things to focus on. Management, investment, real responsibilities. At 10 a.m., after a strong cup of tea, I headed to the meeting room. Inside Shinkai Hotel's largest conference hall, a long table that could seat 20 people was already filled. Liu Bai sat at the far end, the most insignificant seat, trembling slightly with nervousness. "Perform well." "Don't embarrass yourself," his uncle whispered beside him. His uncle, someone with some influence, was the reason he even got in. "I understand." "Uncle Liu," Liu Bai replied humbly. Then, the door opened. An elderly man walked in first. The moment he entered, everyone stood up. "Mr. Chan." The entire room greeted him with respect. Liu Bai frowned slightly. "Uncle Liu." "I feel like I've seen him before. He's the Han family's butler. He rarely appears." "Don't overthink it," his uncle said. "People like you don't just meet him casually." Old Chen walked to the main seat, but instead of sitting there, he sat beside it. That single action stunned everyone. If he wasn't taking the main seat, then that meant the real boss was coming. The atmosphere instantly became tense. Old Chen spoke calmly. "You've all heard. Our family's business will now be handled by the young master. Everything will be decided by him. I repeat, everything." Everyone nodded quickly. "Understood." Then, footsteps echoed outside, and the moment they did, everyone's heart tightened. The door opened. I walked in. "Xiao Han!" Liu Bai couldn't hold it in. He shouted in shock. "Shut up!" His uncle snapped immediately. Liu Bai realized his mistake and shut his mouth instantly. Everyone stood up again. I walked straight to the head of the table. Old Chen pulled out the chair for me. and I sat down. At that moment, everything became clear. Lu Bai's mind went blank. Now he finally remembered why old Chen looked familiar. He was the one who led that massive graduation scene yesterday, which meant I was the heir of the Han family. Everyone, please sit, I said calmly. Despite it being my first time in such a setting, I remained composed. I had practiced this all morning. In this city, everyone knew what the Han family represented. For years, we were the ones in control. Lu Bai's face turned pale. He remembered everything he said to me at breakfast and wished he could slap himself. I insulted someone who can decide my fate. His thoughts collapsed into chaos. I spoke calmly. First time meeting you all. I'm Xiao Han. Going forward, we'll have plenty of interaction. I believe you've all prepared your proposals. Please submit them. My tone was steady, unhurried. Even old Chen nodded slightly. My performance exceeded expectations. Soon, 13 assistants entered, collected the documents, and placed them in front of me. I began reviewing them, calmly, methodically. 1.5 hours later, I closed the final file. Then I spoke. Gongchao Engineering, Huaxian Trading, No Lian Heavy Industry. I listed 9 companies in a row. Those I just named. May leave. Silence. Then, despair. The representatives of those companies collapsed into their chairs, faces pale. Please leave, old Chen said calmly. People slowly stood up and walked out, their expressions worse than failing a life-changing exam. Lu Bai was one of them. His body trembled. Suddenly, he stood up and shouted my name. Everyone looked at him like he was insane. His uncle slapped him hard across the face. What are you doing? He tried dragging him out. Let him speak, I said calmly. His uncle froze, then forced a smile. Young master, didn't you hear? Let him speak, old Chen added coldly. Lu Bai stared at me. Xiao Han, I know I offended you, but everything you have is from your father. With your mindset, I won't necessarily be worse than you in the future. Our proposal may not be the best, but it's definitely top 3. You rejected us because of personal grudges, didn't you? I couldn't help but laugh. Then I pulled out his company's proposal and flipped it open. Your plan uses this city as a stepping stone. Your focus is on first-tier cities, correct? Yes, he sounded confident. Our company's growth can't be limited to a small city like this. I smiled slightly. I thought starting a company meant you had your own ideas. But now I see. You don't even understand the basics. This city is in development. It's one of the 2 officially supported tourism cities. And yet, you're focusing on improving livability to raise housing prices. Do you even know the daily population outflow? The number of incoming residents? The actual policy direction? Yet you don't understand any of it. So why should I work with you? Because of a great proposal you bought. That is completely useless here. I slammed the document onto the table. The sound echoed. Sharply, everyone flinched. Lu Bai stood frozen. He couldn't answer a single question. I looked at him and smiled faintly. I'll learn to walk before you try to run. And the rest of you, same advice. What you think is good is garbage in the real market. For the next 2 days, I buried myself in work. Then one morning, old Chen placed an invitation on my desk. Young master, the Luohe royal family invites you to their birthday banquet today. I nodded. Prepare the car. Soon, a Maybach arrived. An hour later, I reached Luohe. The royal family status here was like ours back home. Many important figures had gathered. Ji Boda, Qin Mingyue, Li Nuo, all of them were there. By the time I arrived, the banquet was about to begin. As I walked toward the entrance, a mocking voice rang out. Heh, Li Nuo really has no shame, bringing along a kept man everywhere, even to an event like this. I didn't even need to look. It was Ji Boda. I ignored him and walked forward. At the entrance, a steward stopped me. Invitation, please. Invitation? Ji Boda laughed loudly. A gigolo like him? Let Li Nuo come get him. His voice drew attention from inside. Li Nuo's father looked at me carefully, confused. After she explained quietly, his expression changed immediately. Let him in, the steward said respectfully. Inside, all 23 tables were full. There was no seat reserved for the Han family. I said nothing, and walked to Li Nuo's table. Young Master Han, her father greeted me quietly. Uncle, I replied politely. Across from us, Qin Mingyu watched everything. She couldn't hear the conversation, but she could see the respect, and something inside her shifted. If my father could treat him like that, if I were sitting beside him, the thought lingered. Then, Jiboda stepped forward. On behalf of the Ji family, I wish the elder a long life. He presented a valuable gift. The elders nodded in approval. Then he turned and looked straight at me. Li Nuo, since your friend is here, shouldn't he also say a few words? Qin Mingyu's expression tightened, because in this setting, words meant gifts, and not just any gift. I stood up calmly. Jiboda smirked. Looks like he prepared well just to impress. I smiled slightly and faced the host, wishing the elder health and longevity. I didn't prepare much, just a small token. I heard you like stamp collections. I took out the gift box. The moment it opened, everything froze. Jiboda. Stunned. Qin Mingyu. Stunned. Those stamps were the exact ones from the auction. How is this possible? Didn't the Han family win those? Even the elder was shocked. That's Saro. I thought this banquet would just be a formality. But I didn't expect it to turn into a battlefield of identity, pride, and survival. And this time, a single move would decide everything. For a brief moment, the old master's heart skipped. But just as quickly, he dismissed the thought. Early that morning, he had already sent people to check on the Han family. My father was abroad, and old Chen was supposed to attend a lunch meeting. There was no news of anyone from the Han family coming. At the nearby table, Jiboda's eyes darkened. He raised his voice deliberately. Li Nuo, looks like you really care about this Xiao Han. You even went to the Han family to get those stamps for him. Seems like he's been keeping you very entertained. Li Nuo shot him a cold glance. That's none of your concern. The old master, who had been delighted just moments ago, now showed a trace of regret. He shook his head. This gift is too valuable. I cannot accept it. But what he meant by valuable wasn't just money. It was the implication behind it. A favor from the Han family, and the idea that Li Nuo might be using this to elevate someone else. If he accepted it, he would be acknowledging all of that publicly. The steward took the gift and placed it back in front of me. I looked at the stamps and sighed. Then I stood up. Elder, this set originally had 2 stamps. I know you already own one, and you've always wanted the full set. I paused, holding the box. But this one is with me. I understand your concerns, but in my view, once a gift is given, it shouldn't be taken back. As I spoke, I opened the box. Then, right in front of everyone, I tore the stamp in half. Silence. Absolute silence. Everyone froze. Even the old master was stunned for a moment. Then suddenly, he understood. A smile slowly appeared on his face. At another table, a middle-aged man murmured while clapping softly, "Impressive? Truly impressive." Because now, the old master's stamp became the only complete one in existence. And in the world of collectibles, uniqueness is everything. Its value had just skyrocketed. This gift was now impossible to refuse. Jiboda's expression turned dark instantly. The approving looks from the elders around made it clear. I had just won them over completely. The old master smiled. Thank you all for coming. Please enjoy the meal. The tension dissolved. Glasses were raised, but quietly he said to someone beside him, "That young man, bring him to my study later. If he's capable, I'll take him under my wing." The person beside him widened their eyes slightly, clearly unhappy, but didn't dare object. After the banquet ended, I stepped outside for some air. Xiaohan, right? I turned. It was a middle-aged man from the main table, clearly someone important in the family. "You're young, and but quite arrogant," he said coldly. "Didn't Li Nuo tell you to tone it down here? Come. The old master wants to see you." I nodded and followed him. Inside the study, I closed the door behind me. Outside, the younger members immediately complained. "Uncle, why is Grandpa meeting an outsider? Does he really want to groom someone from outside?" The man snorted. "Relax. The family business will always stay within the family. A man living off a woman has no right to touch it." Inside, the old master sat alone, studying a piece of calligraphy. "You called for me," I said. Without looking up, he asked, "What do you think of this piece?" I stepped closer, glanced at it, and frowned slightly. "I don't understand calligraphy." "I can't judge." He burst into laughter. "Straightforward. I like that." He rolled up the scroll and sat down. "Young man, I understand your intentions. Since you won't say it, I'll give you options. First, I can help you once in anything related to this city. Second, I can act as your intermediary for whatever you want to do. Third, I can give you one of our family's businesses as compensation for the stamp." Each option was incredibly valuable, especially the third. Even a small business meant gaining the backing of his entire family. For most people, this would be life-changing. But I shook my head. I'm not interested. His expression darkened slightly. Young man, you still think this isn't enough? I admit you impressed me today, but don't push your luck, I sighed. Let me put it this way. Actually, I am. Bang! The door was suddenly pushed open. The middle-aged man stormed in with 2 younger members. The old master slammed the table. Who allowed you in? Father, hear me out, the man said quickly. I checked with the Lee family. They haven't had any contact with the Han family. And at the auction, it was the Han family head who bought the stamp. But he's abroad. So how did this stamp end up here? The old master's eyes sharpened instantly. The man pressed on. And that torn stamp? It's already ruined. No one can verify it. Who would dare ask the Han family directly? One of the younger ones added, Grandpa, the Lee family just secured 2 major projects today. They're the biggest beneficiary here. Another chimed in. And this guy, I think I've seen him before. Some kind of internet actor. That was it. The old master closed his eyes. He had made his decision. Doubt turned into certainty. The middle-aged man looked at me coldly. Speak, what's your relationship with the Lee family? What are you trying to achieve? I looked at the old master. He didn't react. I felt a trace of disappointment. Then I turned to leave, but just as I reached the door, it opened again. Old Chen walked in. Old Huang. Long time no see. You're still in great health. The old master trembled slightly and stood up. Mr. Chen, please have a seat. No need, old Chen smiled. I'm just here to pick up our young master. Young master? Everyone froze. Old Chen walked straight to me and bowed. Young master, the driver had an emergency. I came personally. Sorry to keep you waiting. Silence. The entire room went blank. The middle-aged man, the younger ones, all stared in shock. I smiled faintly at the old master. I told you, I only came to celebrate your birthday. Now that it's over, I'll take my leave. I turned and walked out. Old Chen followed. We'll talk another time. Inside the room, the old master collapsed into his chair. That was the Han family's heir, and he's already managing their entire business. Which meant I was the future ruler of the Han family, and they had just offended me. To offend me was to offend the entire Han family. And everyone knew what that meant, even if they ranked among the top families, compared to us. They were nothing. If we wanted, we could erase them completely. The old master's face turned pale. Regret flooded his mind. Worse, he had listened to those 3 and treated me like a fraud. If I chose not to forgive this, their entire family could collapse. He slammed the table. The 3 trembled in fear. Internet actor? Fraud? Impressive imagination, he roared. When the family faces problems, you contribute nothing. But when you see someone capable, you're quick to destroy him. And get out. His voice thundered through the room. And just like that, everything had changed.